wheat, cattle, wind, and prairie. These are the Kansas images that are burned into my psyche. But on this year's Kansas tour, other themes emerged that began to occupy my thoughts as we traveled on the big bus. Our environment is changing, many say rapidly so. I don't buy the argument that humans are the sole cause of climate and environmental change, but as the largest consumers of the Earth's resources, humans have the responsibility to ensure that life on this planet, all life, will have a chance at survival. I think this means that we must be much more mindful of how we live our lives by examining our habits of consumption. We cannot deny that our environment is changing and has suffered damage. I'm not sure if we can reverse these negative effects or repair the damage, but we do have a responsibility to ourselves and to the future generations to clean up our act, to find responsible ways of extracting from this planet the things that sustain us without destroying our earth or completely depleting its resources. The Land Institute in Salina, Kansas is working toward this goal. Its mission is to develop an agricultural system with the ecological stability of the prairie and a grain yield comparable to that from annual crops. Wes Jackson, president of the Land Institute, and Ken Warren, managing director, are two men who know the urgency of preserving our soil and water resources.
Some 30 or 40 years ago, we were talking about both the end of fossil fuel epoch and climate change. And we let 3 decades go by, and we still don't have an energy policy. We're probably going to get one soon. But we may have wind machines, solar collectors that'll take up some of that slack, some of the deficiency. But there's going to be no technological product that substitutes for soil.
You know, I can walk into the CAD/CAM kind of display areas in the university I teach, and I've never seen on one of those screens a prototype replacement for soil or water. But somehow people believe that when we run out of those, that there'll be some kind of way to fix that.
This wind farm in Spearville is extracting 100.5 megawatts of clean energy from the wind that blows across the Kansas prairie. That's enough to power 33,000 homes. Kansas is an ideal place for wind energy, lots of open spaces and lots of wind. I am fascinated by this process of harnessing a natural force and converting it into electrical energy with little to no negative impact on our environment. The future of wind-generated energy in Kansas is bright. There are several projects planned that will increase the wind energy output of our state significantly, as well as provide the transmission lines needed to put this clean energy onto the national grid. The Brown v. Board of Education National Historic Site is a museum that chronicles the times and events that led to the abolition of black-white segregation in our public schools. Separate but equal was the argument used to justify the segregation of black and white students. In 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal was an impossible standard to achieve. The court said that the act of separating students based on skin color automatically produced inequalities that could not be overcome by even the best teachers or facilities. This led to the eventual desegregation of public schools throughout the nation. I was just a young boy about to enter school when these events took place. I have no recollection of the impact of this ruling on my life at that time, so I am grateful to have this National Historic Site to remind me of what was, now that I am old enough for these memories to affect my life in a positive way. I am not the same person coming home from this trip that I was when I left. Those who know me will probably not notice any change. It's mostly internal. But I notice a change in the way I think, maybe a little pause before a reflexive thought, or maybe the recollection of a new experience that I can now make part of my life.